What's up, everybody? I was out at the lake today and I thought, man, it's a new year, checking out my kayaks anyways, so let's just make this video. And I'm sure most of you all are here because you want to know what the best pedal kayak is for fishing. And today we're going to go over the best kayaks for fishing. So don't forget to hit that like button down below, hit the subscribe button, and let's get into it. But first, before we go through talking about all the different features and different types of kayaks and things like that, let's just go ahead and switch sceneries and get a little bit more comfortable and get into the conversation about what the best kayak for fishing is. Here we go. Alright, what's up, guys? A little bit more cozy. It's 37 degrees out here. I thought, what better place to do this than outside my favorite lake where I often do kayak fishing. If you're new to the channel, my name is OhKee12. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down below, and hit the notification bell next to it so you can be notified for weekly content. Let's get into the video. You guys aren't here to listen to me talk. You guys are here so you can figure out what is the best pedal kayak for fishing. The lighting was crazy. Had to get back into it. So you guys aren't here to listen to me talk. You guys are here to find out what the best pedal kayak fishing is. So let's get into it. Before I give you the answer that you seek and that you came here for, there's just some things to think about. But the most important thing is when you're buying a kayak, you have to treat it like an investment. You're not going to go out and buy a car, a house, your favorite fishing rod and reel without at least seeing some sort of feedback on it, right? Most of the time you're either going to do a walkthrough. If it's a home, you're going to drive it. If it's a truck, if it's a rod and reel, you're going to do some research online. You're probably going to watch YouTube videos like you're doing right now just to see if it's going to be what you were looking for, because you don't want to spend your money on something that you're not going to enjoy, you're not going to use, and that's the most important thing. So some things to think about when you're buying a kayak for kayak fishing. Now, you know, I'm no expert on the subject, but I've had a few kayaks over the years, and I'll play some footage of the different kayaks that I've had. When I first started kayak fishing, I started with an Ascend. Then I later upgraded to a pedal kayak with the Native Propel Slayer 13. Then I went to a Hobie Pro Angler 14. And then I switched over to the Old Town Predator PDL. And finally I've settled on the Old Town Sportsman 120 PDL. Before I tell you guys this, I want you guys to know I am on the pro staff team for Old Town, but that doesn't mean that I'm just going to promote them and push them in this video. I'm actually going to talk about the best kayaks, and I'm going to get you the answer that you're looking for. So anyways, enough with the tangents and talking about it. So I want to get back to some of the things I was talking about earlier. First being, you know, you have to think about the first thing that comes up when you're wanting to purchase a kayak, and that's always going to be budget, right? What is within your means to buy that you can afford, right? Is it $100? Is it $200? Is it $500? Is it $1,500? So on and so forth. So budget is going to determine a lot of what the best kayak is going to be for you. The best kayak is not always going to be the kayak that costs $5,000 off the floor. It's also probably not going to be the $100 kayak, but it may be. It depends on your needs. So my first recommendation for the best pedal kayak when it comes to fishing is... What the heck? Those ducks scared the crap out of me. Some ducks right here. Okay, back to, I lost train of thought here. Okay. Okay, so we're talking about there's going to be budget. It's going to be performance. Do you want it to, when I say performance, I don't mean just perform well. Is it going to perform the way that you want it to do? Is it going to go in reverse? Is it going to go forward? Is it going to turn sharp? Is it going to take longer to turn? These are all things that you have to think about when doing this. And the reason that you have to think about these things is because you're not going to find one kayak that fits all in this market. There's always going to be some sort of feature that's on one kayak that's not on the other, and vice versa. And so you've really got to focus on what the most important things to you are. Then you want to talk about color. You want to talk about stability of the kayak. Speaking of stability, fun fact, every kayak I've ever owned, with the exception of when I switched to the Old Town, I have flipped. Yes, that is correct. Now, it's embarrassing to say, but I have flipped them. I've fallen out of them. You name it, I've done it. Knock on wood this year that I don't do it in the old towns that I have, but it's very likely possible with my luck. We also want to talk about the ability to mod a kayak, and that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, so I'm going to keep this video basic because you're here to buy a kayak, you're not here to get into modding of kayaks, and that's a whole nother subject that could go on and on forever, right? But when I say modding, is how easy is it to add a motor if you want to add a motor later on? How easy is it to take the pedal drive off, right, if you don't need the pedal drive? If it's something shallow that you can't use the pedal drive in, is there a way to move that out of the way? Is there a way to mod the kayak so that it turns sharper than what it does? Some brands require an upgraded rudder kit off the market. You spend all this money on the kayak, and then you still have to upgrade the rudder and other things like that. Storage, right? How easy is it to modify to add storage? Because not every kayak's going to have the storage that you want to have depending on what you're using it for. If you just want a basic kayak for fishing that pedals, a lot of those will do that. But if you want stuff that's got good storage, good stability, good performance, that's where it's going to start to cost money, because you're paying for the quality. In my opinion, the top 5 kayak companies and the big names are mostly the ones that you see out on the tournament trail. Keep in mind, I am a bass fisherman. I compete in tournaments with my kayak in bass fishing tournaments, so there may be other brands that are more prominent in different types of fishing, whether it's catfishing, crappie fishing, etc. Number 1 for me, obviously, being on pro staff, Old Town. Number 2, Hobie. 3, Native. 4, Wilderness. 5, Perception. Okay, those are the ones that I feel like primarily. Oh, I forgot. Let me add another one. New Canoe. So those are the top 6, in my opinion, of what you'll probably primarily see people have. Doesn't mean that there's not good ones like Lifetime, Pelican. There's a whole plethora of brands of kayaks that I could get into. You know, it doesn't mean that they don't make good kayaks. Okay, so the top things that you want to consider when buying your kayak are going to be budget, stability, performance, color, weight and overall length of the kayak, ability to modify or upgrade it, and what accessories that you're wanting to use with your kayak, and the ability to for the kayak to accept those accessories with minimum modification, because nobody necessarily likes to go and have to drill 100 holes in their kayak to get something to work, especially if it's your only kayak, especially if you spend a lot of time saving, you've never kayak fished before. I can tell you this was the first year after having so many kayaks that I actually felt comfortable drilling some holes and doing some things in my kayak. So I completely understand the nervousness and the scared feeling of not wanting to damage that kayak, especially since if it took you a long time of saving to get that. I completely understand. So with the things that we talked about, having those things in mind, all those things that I talked about and things that are considered are things that are going to impact the price of your kayak. So the thing that I can really recommend is the next step after you've figured out those things you want in the kayak is testing out the kayak. You're like, but anybody and everybody says that. I get that. But I am 6'1", 185 pounds. What works for me is not going to work for somebody that's 6'7", 300 pounds, or somebody that's 5'4", 98 pounds. Body type is going to be different across that. Balance, center of balance is going to be different from everybody. I have a bad back from the military. That's something to consider too. Comfortable seats. All these things are going to play factors on keeping you on the water and helping you be satisfied with your purchase. You don't want to sit for long periods of time in an awkward position and your back is just killing you, and then you can't go back out the next day. You have to wait a week or two to get back out there or whatever. Pull your back, do something like that. It's another thing, the weight and the length. If you're just going to put it on a trailer and do whatever, by all means, go all out. But if you're like me and you just want to throw it in the back of your truck, go someplace, throw your kayak in the water and get out there and fish, then you need to consider the size, the weight, and your transportation method for that. Another thing to consider is a warranty, right? The warranty for a kayak, your investment, is going to be just as important as all the other topics that I talked about, right? And you want to make sure the warranty is good. If they have a lifetime hull warranty, if they have a 5-year warranty on their drive system, you really need to consider that because you're making an investment in that product. And then you also want to do a search online of like reviews of the company that sells the kayak, not just the kayak, but the company that sells the kayak. If you've got a company that sells really good kayaks, but there's a bunch of reviews online saying that they've got terrible customer service, they're hard to get through, they don't honor their warranty, those are things that you want to know before you go and invest in that company. Because when you're not just investing in that company, you're investing in yourself and a product that you want to be happy with, that you want to perform and help you fish. And if it's not there and you can't get it fixed when you need to get it fixed, that's a problem. Obviously my recommendation is going to be any of the Old Town kayak line, but if you've tried Old Town and that wasn't for you, that's okay. Hobie makes great products, Wilderness makes great products, Pelican makes good product. There's many of the other ones out there that have a selection for you, but you're here because you want the best pedal kayak for fishing. And the answer to that question is this simple answer right here. It's the one that fits your needs. Consider those things that I talked about. I'll list some brands here in just a minute and some specific types of kayaks that you should consider or could consider. Doesn't mean that those are the only options. Certainly not, especially if they're not within your budget. I completely understand. At the end of the day, it's your decision. It's your money. But I would love to see you all out there on the water, kayak fishing, or just kayaking, or whatever your needs may be. If you still have questions, if you still are thinking about stuff or some other ideas that you guys think that are helpful for people to read, comment down below. I'll answer your questions. If other people have input on important things, comment those down below, because we want to help people. We want to grow the sport. We want people to be happy. And we want to see them out there on the water doing what we love to do, and that is fish. Again, I'm OhKee 12. I'll see you guys on the next video next week, and I'm out.